and welcome to the future of identity. And no one gives a shit about it because identity is fucking boring. And we identified this like a year ago and we changed course a little bit. We're still doing self-sovereign identity and everything we do is about that. But our pivot involves looking more into marketing strategies by looking on chain, use data on chain to improve customer acquisition strategies because all the data is already there anyways. And my co-founder was performance marketer in Web 2, right? And he came into crypto and he was like, what the fuck is going on? Why is no one using data? Why is everyone throwing money against the wall? And, if it sticks, it's good. And maybe we have some conversions, but how the fuck do I track it? And we can't track it. So we were on this mission of using data, on-chain data, identity data as well, to do two things. Help the app to be more precise with their marketing strategies, calculate conversion rates, use data-driven marketing, and help users to get something for their data. So it's kind of a win-win if you can lift this off. And it's not an easy thing because people tried it before, but we're gonna make it happen. And why does it even matter? Like, why does identity data matter on chain? There's like 3 reasons for it, or 3 big use cases for it. There's a lot of bots and farmers on chain, and you don't really know who's actually just farming my product and misusing me to just extract value and fuck off, and who gives a shit about me, right? Who actually wants to use my product? So that's something you want to identify as an app. And if you don't identify that, I think you're screwed, like in the long term, because you're just giving away money until you're broke. Second are power users and crypto tourists. So it's kind of the same category, people that are just going from app to extract value and don't really return. But we want people that actually use apps, right? That are doing trading on chain, that are collecting NFTs, that are providing liquidity and so on. And we want long-time contributors as well, or at least we want to understand, okay, who's new, who has no reputation here, and who is someone that has been around since a long while. And all these things can be identified with on-chain data. But right now, we don't do it. And that leads to very low conversion rates for marketing campaigns. So if you're running any kind of marketing campaign, you have some KOLs going on, you're sponsoring events, you have a shitload of expenses for your marketing budget, but what does it return? Where, like how much do I spend and what do I get back? It's very hard to calculate. So you're basically wasting a lot of marketing budget, and there's data on it. The conversion or the customer acquisition cost in crypto is so much higher than in Web 2. And that's one of the reasons. So you do very inefficient targeting strategies. You don't understand, okay, who's really a user that I can retain, that I should invest more money in to keep it on my platform. So at the end of the day, it's just we're wasting money here, and we have all the data on chain. And if we're not having it on chain, it is off chain. We just need to get it into the user profiles, right? And we're trying to build that bridge. So with Solana ID or with the protocol that we're trying to build here, we're using on-chain data to identify the behavior of users on chain. So we know if someone is a big liquidity provider, if he's using multiple platforms and so on. I'm going to talk about what we can actually see on chain very easily. And we're using off-chain data because users that sign up to Solana ID, they want to get more benefits. The pitch for the user, for all of you, is I want to be a VIP on chain. If I have a Solana ID, I get more value from my favorite apps. So if I have an identity, I can distinguish from the bots and farmers, and that helps me to get more value on chain. It's a very straightforward pitch. And minting a Solana ID is also a very easy process. It's like 2 buttons, cost 0.1 Sol, depending on what stage you're in right now. How it essentially works for the businesses is they can query a few things from us. We developed a solid score, the Solana ID score, which is a metric 0 to 1,000, and it identifies basically the credibility of a user. If you are in the tier 1, it's very difficult to get in there. That's the higher percentage people that make it into the top percentage of the scores. We have tiers as well that are basically just the segments of the score, and we have badges that are more behavioral data. How do people actually act on chain? What do they do? And we did some data analysis on a lot of wallets that we analyzed on chain. And based on the current scoring algorithm that we have, if you want to reach the top 1% on Solana based on their experience, the things they did, the age of their wallet, the transaction fees they paid, which means basically activity, it's like only 1% of all the wallets make it into the tier 1, which is like a very interesting audience to trying to reach, right? So you can use just alone the score to identify high-value users and more crypto tourists, bots, and farmers at the end of the day. But I'm actually much more bullish on badges because badges give me many more insights on the actual users. I can identify if someone, for example, is a heavy DEX trader or even someone that uses multiple platforms for DEX trading and goes, on different venues. I can identify if someone is a hodler, there's a variety of fungible tokens in his wallets and keeps them as well in his wallets. I know if someone is an OG on Solana because he has a very old wallet with a lot of transactions, or if someone's just a power user that has a lot of active days on Solana. So those are some metrics, and it's just the beginning. We're going to have a much much wider data set to identify, okay, who's actually connecting to that application, who do I want to attract to my application, and so on. So what you can do with all this data is find and engage the right users, because you should ask yourself, if you have an app on Solana, okay, who's my target audience actually? Who do I want to attract? Because in Web 2 you do that. You ask yourself, what are power users for my app that are interested in my use case? You can do that as well using Solana ID and the badges we have and the scoring data we have. And you can also target your marketing budget in different campaigns and say, okay, only tier 1, only certain badges get specific incentives from me, because you might want to spend more money of your marketing budget on more bullish, let's say, accounts, or more high-value accounts. So a high-value account, someone that's right in the middle of my target audience, deserves a higher marketing budget, a higher customer, basically a higher rate to turn them into customers. And you can maximize your efficiency and your control as well by using data on chain. Now, how does it work for the apps when they interact with us? They have basically 4 options. They can either do only tier-gated targeting, so tier 1, 2, 3, 4, based on the solid score, to check the credibility of a user, distinguish between bots, and so on. They can do badge-gated targeting for their campaigns, so they tell us, okay, I want traders. I have a DEX, I'm interested in people that have a lot of P&L swings. We identify people with a lot of P&L swings, and we help you to reach them. Or you can do a hybrid targeting. So you say, okay, I have a specific, we call it a lead magnet or perk. You have a specific lead magnet that you want to give only to people in tier 1 that are very active on DEXs, right? So you can also combine different target or different points to basically really tailor your campaign to one specific target audience. And how you can do that, there's a few ways how you can actually reach the user. So we usually distribute a perk. In Web 2, we call them lead magnets, by the way, right? So a lead magnet is something that attracts the right user to your application. We can distribute it inside of the Solana ID hub, which is our customer-facing app. We're just ramping up the users. We have 30,000 users right now. And basically all efforts we do for our marketing brings users to your marketing campaigns that you launch on Solana ID hub as well. And we use all our social channels as well to help our partners that run campaigns with us. We bring them on our community live streams. We have on average 4,000 people in there. So we do a lot of stuff for our own marketing that helps our customers as well to get more visibility. But at the heart of it, it's always the tier-based or the badge-based targeting system that we implemented here, right? And then we get the question a lot of times, okay, what does it mean to be a Solana OG, right? And we look at a few data points right now. For example, OGs have a lot of days of wallet age, but also a lot of active days. Then if you look for liquidity provisioning, we look, for example, for people that have a high historical volume, but also a high duration of keeping things in the liquidity pool, and a lot of active volume at this moment right now. And then they get the badge for liquidity provisioning. We define certain thresholds. If you reach the threshold, you get in. Now, actually, we can actually play the video, maybe, if we can do that, because we're launching something new, which is very exciting, that will help people to distribute the campaigns to many more venues, not just the Solana ID hub, but actually a display network of advertising partners. And that's a little teaser. So let's give this a go.
You see it? Oh, come on. Little bit.
Can you tell me a little bit about what Super King Journey?
Very happy to. So Super King Learning is there to give the best possible support to.
Did you see it? No way.
No way. Perks are coming anytime, at any moment. This is how it feels like. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. This is how it feels like to navigate Solana ecosystem when we build out the Solana ID display network, which is a network of basically advertisement partners that play out our targeted advertisement campaigns. But we don't call them ads, we call them perks because they feel like perks. Actually, you're interested in the perk you're getting. It is something you want because I want to get 30% off something. I want to get a discount on whatever I'm using already. I want to get a random airdrop because I deserve it because of my behavior on chain. I want to get a whitelist spot. So all these things that DApps use to reach their target audiences are basically their marketing spend that finds its way into your pockets. Because Vanity is putting a target on your back and says, hey, I deserve this, right? Because you're an interesting user, an interesting customer for that application. So you will navigate Solana and you will find random apps that you already use. You log in with your wallet, they query Solana ID protocol, and they identify, hey, this user is in my target audience, so let me show him a perk. Let's convert that to become my customer, right? And we do this on a lot of apps on Solana. We're just kicking this off now. We have a first collaboration with Sol Incinerator going live, and then we want to expand this network throughout much more monthly reach. And it's going to become super interesting for apps and projects on Solana to use Solana ID to do basically performance marketing for crypto, which we don't have yet, which is crazy. So I think that's pretty much my message that I want to give here. I want people to understand that we can do much better targeted and efficient marketing strategies on crypto. We just need to use the data that's already on chain. And I think in our concept also, it's very interesting because we have a consumer-facing app as well, where people can add their off-chain credentials to basically build a very interesting data backpack. And the more data you have in your profile with us, the more perks you get on chain. So if you want to get more value on chain, become a Solana VIP, mint your Solana ID on app.solana.id, or even more importantly, talk with us, with me or my co-founder Pierre, about this shit and give us some feedback. If you think it's stupid, let me know. I'm happy to fight you. If you think it makes a lot of sense, but there's ways to improve it, let me also know because we want to get better. Thanks so much.